Peace, y'all. Welcome back. It's the M's in the Grid channel. This is part 3 of the We Are in Hell series. Today, I'm going to be talking about memory and reincarnation, the two key tools that are used to trap us in this hell realm. At least what I think it is. Now, as y'all could tell, I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes, as I've said, but this and the next video are going to be the meat and potatoes of it. So it might run a little bit longer. This is a hell realm. I think that there are two major tools that are used to keep this cycle of control perpetuated. And that is memory and the reincarnation tool. There's not any other two tools. There are other things that help the higher ones control this place. But there's not anything outside of these two. Well, there is one, but that's going to be in the next video on what it is like out of body once we get up out of here. But for the sake of this, there's not two more things that are more powerful than our memories being wiped and us being reincarnated. I'm not the first person to say this. People that swear by this, like in the Vedic traditions, you have a whole group of people that think that it's terrible, the reincarnation and karma and dharma and all of those things. Now, I'm not on that wave. Let's build. To state it outright, this is my premise, and then I will backtrack. I think that we are in a cycle, as I said yesterday, of negativity, where whatever the game was before, it is now a jail and a trap for souls. You and I are in it. I just happen to be someone that's either remembering or figuring it out. This is my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I think we are trapped in a cycle and we can't get out because our memories are being wiped and we're being restarted. And there is no end to it. I think that a lot of the quote-unquote occult and the magic that's being done is pretty much made so that we stay in this hell realm by not focusing on the things that actually matter. At this time, as I said, the cycles, it's not just me. Other people have said. I just finished reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's called the Bardo Thodol. Go read that and understand that a lot of people feel like this place is not a place to be desired. Even if you're doing okay, there's a place of limitations. If you're in a consciousness space, you've heard that before. There's a prison planet, a place of restriction and reduction. Science have already started proving that the brain is an actual reducing valve, if you understand electricity. That there's a lot of energy coming into it, but it can only process this much. A lot is being pushed down, but it can only funnel this much. We're creatures of limitation here. Now, I'm not going to get into that build too much here. That'll be probably down the line. It looks like we've forgotten. And so let's follow what a lot of people and a lot of the stuff that I've researched say. It looks like a long time ago that the Gnostics talk about this. You know, the Bible talks about this, the fall from grace, the fall from heaven. The Gnostics talk about Sophia taking a level down and losing her consciousness and falling to slumber, creating the archons. I'm not going to get too crazy with the stuff because I know my audience may or may not be heavy into that. At some point, it looks like we played a game where we fell from higher knowledge. This is how I interpret it based on a whole bunch of stuff that I've learned. A long time ago, we decided to play this game of physicality. Physicality is a game because where we come from, it's not as hard and as dense as this, and we wanted to understand denseness. How the game used to work is we lived for a way longer time, and the memories that we had, we kept. And we chose when we wanted to incarnate into a body, and we kept the memories we had from previous lives. And this seems to be the more logical idea when you think of how you grow and how you learn things. You need memory, right? You need memory to become to level up in consciousness. Memory is a key to leveling up in consciousness. This should be logical. As a child, you learn a whole bunch of stuff. You learn the stove is too hot, so you don't touch it. You store that information, that experiential data inside of you, and that's memory. You know not to do that again. You're a child and you're learning social dynamics, and you go and you have an awkward moment. You learn not to do that again, and so now you're a cool kid, etc., etc., etc. Learning and leveling up and growing in consciousness is about going through a whole bunch of computational things, learning what you prefer and not, and then adjusting. And that makes you, most times, a more diverse form of consciousness. Isn't this what we're doing with AI? Part of the quantum AI right now is giving it computational understanding to go out there and do an action versus another action, and finding out which way is the most expedient. And so the AI learns over time through computation. And so you extrapolate this into godhood. What would a god do? A god is just a highest knower, right? Like, there's many definitions, but for the sake of this, how you define a god is something that just knows way more things than you and can do more things with that knowledge. And then so the ultimate God would be the one that has all the knowledge and can do all the things. And how did it know that? By doing things, learning, and then storing it as memory, if you believe in God. And so if I can give you real life examples of how you level up, and then take a look at this place, you will understand why I say there's something not quite right here. And so, as I was saying with the story, what happened is we did that for some time. We kept coming back here. We had memories and we lived, and we found that, say you live 100 lifetimes and they're all spanning 1,000 years, and you remember all your memories and all the things that you could do. You can imagine that after a time, I don't like using the term getting bored, but you would say, like, I've done it all. And so this is what happens. You can follow me and believe me or not. We decided to play the game of forgetting. And this is where it started to where we are now. Again, remember, just cycles. We decided to play the game of forgetting. This is the fall from heaven. This is all the lore that you've heard. We decided to play the game of forgetting. There's a group of us that decided, because all the high ones are us who have polarized towards the negative. And so there's a group of us who we said we want to play this game, and we found a technology to forget. And so we would come down here and forget little pieces, and then we found that there was good in that. There was contrast, because at the end of our lives, we go back to where, whatever you believe in, we go back to where we are, and then we regain memory. And so what has happened, I'm like breezing through this shit. What has happened is, over eons and times, maybe infinities, we changed the game, because this is a game, into more and more contrast and more forgetting. It seems that we probably got into a spot of, we want to forget it all. Either that, or we were coerced, or whatever it is. And there are some of us that realize that we can benefit off of this. If we remember everything and everybody else forgets something, then we will have power over these people. They can do a whole bunch of stuff for us for free. And so that's where we are. You would have to, here's some places that you can go and kind of get some ideas. Again, read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This is not a desired place. They have steps on what they think on how to get up out of here. I want you to go check out Forever Conscious research channel. You have Dan from Overwatch channel. You have a couple. You have tens of thousands of near-death experiencer cases. You can check out the Ions channel. Pre-birth memories. You have Michael Cooper's book. I forgot the name. He has part 1 and 2. Journeys into the afterlife or something. I'll get the name for you and correct it. Sorry. And I'll post it on the video. Where I read book 1 and book 2. And it's pretty much people that are being regressed and remember everything that they were doing pre-birth, which is hard to come by. And Ions has the near-death experience where people are actually seeing the other aspect of this control system, which I'm going to get into the next video. And so with all of that said, this is a beautiful machine. We forgot that we were playing this game. And now it's gone from forgetting to this is like actually the stuff of nightmares. Remember I said I don't know if this is the only place, but this is a place. Now they tell you this in the movies, in the Matrix, in there's a movie called This Is My Life. It's like an older movie. You can go Google that. 13th Floor. A lot of sci-fi. I'm one of those tinfoil hats that know that they put this stuff in plain sight, because the name of this game is the name of this game is They Have to Tell You. I forgot the word. They have to let you know in some way. They didn't tell you how. Where the game is, we just come here in cycles and we've forgotten so far, and we are being mind wiped. And a lot of us are waking up, or we feel it, and we're trying to get up out of here. So that's the premise of this video. We're at 12 minutes. I want to let you know, I want to just address some counterpoints, okay? Because I know that there's a lot of thinking in the New Age community that, yes, you have to start from scratch in order to have a good life. What if you went through terrible lifetimes and you need to start over and go to a new life, and you have the trauma from the last lifetime? You were abused or you were killed mercilessly. It's going to affect you in this life. And I say that is a half-truth. To counter that, I would say, though, I don't think that would be something that you would do for a very long time in a system that's benevolent. If you're completely starting over, this is the thing with karma and dharma. If you're completely starting over and you're supposed to go through this life, and when I get to this tomorrow and learn things and bring that into your new life, and then the next life, right, you're supposed to correct the mistakes. How can you correct the mistakes if you don't remember what the fuck you did before to land you in a place? It's absolutely silly. Yes, I get the benefit of starting fresh in a pair of new eyes, and that is the truth. Go read the Kabbalion to learn that there's always two halves to the same thing. So that's a half truth. I do have the benefit of fresh new eyes, but the thing about getting wiped is there's a part of you, there's an essence that cannot be wiped. You cannot be completely wiped. When you study like as above, so below, then you have mind control that's here. You can wipe a person, but you have sometimes someone that's gonna bleed through. I don't want to get into any weird Manchurian candidate, born supremacy, mind control stuff here, because I know that turns people off, but it exists here. It's been told to us. It's been like in CIA documents that these things are real, mind control. And so to the people that say that you need to start over in order to learn, I'm going to tell you that that's a half truth, and it doesn't make sense. If you have a system that is intelligently designed, and we want to believe, right? We want to believe that God is intelligently designed. It may do that for a couple cycles, but it's been doing this for eons, meaning it's been wiping people to start all the way over for eons and not learning certain lessons. Example, I got to be careful with my words here because this is YouTube, but children, la 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 la, trafficking, la 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 la. So I got to put those spaces in between, hopefully, so that the robot doesn't catch me. That's been going on for a very long time, and you hear these stories. I just saw something the other day, and I didn't want to see it about, Biden opening up the borders and some of these kids that are getting separated from their parents. Terrible things happen to this one girl, and my heart, like I cried, bro. Not tears here, but internally, and these things affect me. And I'm like, okay, well, this has been going on for eons. How many times does the system need to go through these terrible, heinous things? A lot of us are protected from all the bullshit that's going on in the real world. And so this would not be an intelligent system if it's continuing for these things to happen over and over and over again. With the premise of, I need to understand all possibilities. Well, okay, after some time, you're going to level up because you've learned, remember, you've learned from prior experiences what not to do and what to feel, what you prefer. Unless you're telling me that it prefers that and it reinforces my belief that this is a hell realm. If you have a quote unquote God creator that needs to go through these things that we can easily in our lifetime, after 2 or 3 times say that this shit is completely silly and I don't want to fuck with it. If we can say that and the higher aspect of us can't, then us as the ego have to say that that's weird. That's my rebuttal to the people that are going to say, well, we come here and being wiped is part of the thing, is part of learning. The second thing is the reincarnation, it being a tool for us to work out bad karma, karma and dharma. That this is a benevolent thing. You lived a life that was trash. You did a whole bunch of shit to other people and it sucked. And now there's a debate whether the energy will come back to you or it's not that you just saw in your life review after you died that you did that and you felt all the pain and anguish, because that's what they say happens. Again, I'll touch on that in the next video. And then you decide, just through contrast, that you don't want to do that again. You don't prefer doing that, and you come here. And I say that there's something fishy about that. Yes, it's a half-truth. You probably that is something that would let you make better decisions here. But and that's for a learning purpose. Sorry, I had to think of that. That karma and dharma are for learning purposes for you to evolve. But I would say to that I don't see anything changing here. People are having bad karma and people are still, after eons and eons, still doing the same things that we were doing back in ancient Egypt. There's still corruption. There's still all types of fuckery going on. I don't see that most of us, you understand, like after a millennia, you would think that, okay, there's still going to be a little bit of corruption and stuff, but most of this shit is just outright fucking corrupt. Most of it. Government's weird. Capitalism is weird. People are weird. We have neuroses, jealousy, hate, envy, crab in a barrel type thing. This is still here. I don't see where the karmic and dharmic things are playing out in life where us as a whole are evolving. Again, us as a whole evolving would be proof that this is an intelligent system. The fact that it's not here is proof that it's not working the way that it should be by now. We've had enough time. I don't think that reincarnation is a benevolent thing if you don't, without the access to your memories. And the last caveat is that How could you live a life with a purpose that you came here to do if you remember other lives? And I would say this to you, and then I'm gonna shut it down. This is the rebuttal section. In this life, when we have trauma, we can be healed. This life, you had something fucked up happen to you. You can go to a counselor and work it out and maybe, be whole. Are you trying to tell me after you live eons of life in a body and you learn all things, because that's what's going to happen. Even for the plebe that plays video games and Nintendo all day, after 500 years, you're going to say, okay, finally, I want to learn about why I'm here. And you delve into psychology and you delve into how the human body works and how the mind works and how psychology works. You don't think that you would be able to help alleviate yourself? Also, when you die and you go to the other places, you don't think that you can rejuvenate yourself from a life full of hardship and come back here fresh enough to have a fresh perspective with the memories that you had before? I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit on you saying that it's a necessity for us to be wiped blank. So, those are my rebuttals. In totality, my opinion of this all, just to re-summarize, is that we are in a loop. We've forgotten. Whatever happened before, we've forgotten. There's some of us that are intent. We weren't wiped all the way. We have an essence of remembering. This is a game. This is a game of contrast. It doesn't take away that. When I say it's a hell realm, I mean it, but it's in a cycle of, can you remember and get up out of here? It's literally what they're telling you in the Matrix. When Neo is in that world and they give him the red pill, some of us are inclined to look towards the red pill side of you, and we're remembering and we're looking at things in a reality that don't make sense and calling it. And that's the last point that I have to make after I finish up this point. So we're in a cycle of remembering. We're in a cycle of forgetting, getting wiped, coming back, doing duties, energy being gleaned off of us, whatever, however you want to talk about that. I'll talk about that in the next video, whether it be money, monetary, or emotional energy, a combination of things. We're being used as batteries. I hate to say, the cliche stuff. And then we die. And none of the stuff that we did in life matters. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to depress you. None of the stuff we did matters. Us evolving is not the point of the game. The point of the game right now is that the people who are in control, they need us for the game, first of all, because we are creator beings. They need us for the game. And so they feed it to us and give us a false purpose, and then we die and get wiped. And then, so this is a farm, is what I'm telling you. This is a soul farm at this time. And those two things are the main two tools: memory and reincarnation. Sorry, I'm back. There was a point that I said I was going to make before the last point, and that is the red pill community, for some reason, have a way of looking at things that don't explain things away. And I think this is an important point before I wrap it up, which is a lot of us suffer from explaining things away that don't make sense. And I'm trying to tell you that this is due to our forgetting our nature. There's certain things that we look in reality and then we're like, something ain't right about that. And we find something to explain it away, or we turn our heads and say, man, it's too much to think about. Now, I know how it is. Red pill niggas like me come and tell you this and it starts raining on your parade and you can't deal with it anymore. That's called cognitive dissonance. When something that breaks your worldview shatters you so much that it's so painful that you either don't want to hear about it or you explain it away. I just gave you examples with religion and New Age, where explaining things that are happening here that are terrible to be a benevolent thing, where it's obviously not cool. You can sense that within you. people suffering all across the globe. A lot of us are protected and insulated from all the stuff that's going on. I can't even say most of it because the algorithm picks up on it. It doesn't want us to talk about these things. Stuff that's going on with the kids, stuff that's going on with people being trafficked, drugs in the neighborhood, politics, all these things we explain away. But in terms of the reincarnation cycle, it's been explained away. And so I say this to you. Don't question everything. Don't fight that feeling of it doesn't make sense too much. Don't fight that. Investigate that. If it doesn't make sense, look into it. And that was really my point. I think conscious people just have, I don't know, there's something about, remember I told you about getting wiped and coming back? It seems like there's a small group of people, I don't know if it's old souls and new souls, I can't tell you. I've been an old soul since I was young. I've been on some old man shit, like looking at kids just being kids, having fun, judging them since I was like 14 and 15. Like, that's stupid. Whether you're an old soul and you're tired, or you're a new soul and you come in here and you peep what you think is the fuckery. I'm not saying I'm right. You think that you peep the fuckery and you're like, I don't want to be a part of that. There's an essence that came with you that allows you to see that. And it might be just this one lifetime. You might not have that again. So to those of you that's watching this who believe in like destiny and life scripts and stuff, I want you to take this and look at a lot of the views that you have and see if you're explaining things away. We have to use logical progressional thinking based upon the information that's given to us from the reality, and make conclusions that make sense. That's what a God does. Computes it and takes the information and makes the best logical conclusions and decisions from that information. You have a thing called Christian apologists, where this is a funny thing, where like God has killed mad people in the Bible, hundreds of thousands, and you got some nerds that, based upon the time and the location, they can tell you how many people died. And it's like, that's one of my first questions. How can a benevolent God just be murdering motherfuckers wholesale? Something ain't right there. And so that question right there is you not explaining things away. I need that to be understood. Religion explains a ton of stuff away. Like, oh, okay, well, he does that because he can see in his great wisdom. Well, why can't it be relayed to me? And so I don't know if I said it in the video, and then I really would shut this down. This will be a whole nother topic. The lowering, the bastardization of the ego, you as the ego, trying to tell you that your ego is something that can't understand high topics. And to that I would say, I swear I'm going to shut it down after this. To that I would say, I'm not buying it. I call bullshit. Information can be disseminated to us differently. So when we ask God certain things, some of us that are religious, and then your elders tell you, well, you may not understand because that's God's wisdom, and you can't understand it because you're not him. I would say as above, so below. And information can be disseminated on different levels. Here's an example. Your kid wants to know how other kids are made. They got some fast-ass kids in the school telling them about procreation, and they come to you. You have options. He just wants to know where they're coming from because he doesn't know. You can tell him a stork. And at least at his level now, he has an answer that can satiate him, that he can maneuver in the world. He can now go around and he has something that can satiate him. Maybe if you are more forward and you're more up to times parents, you can tell him something like, mommy and daddy came together and through love, the baby came. And he's like, how? And you just tell him love created him. And maybe he or she will take that information and assimilate it. And now they can go out in the world with the new worldview because they just got a level of information that they can understand. So if we have a God who has infinite wisdom, there should be a way that it can be relayed to you in a way that you can understand the truth. And what I'm trying to tell you is a lot of explaining it away is just like, you can't fathom it because you're not on that level. Well, come to my level and let me know as much as I can. There's certain information that you're going to get that if you got it, it would explode you, or you cannot contain this much this. This is occult thinking. This is dark occult thinking disseminated through you guys. And how that works is letting you know they have a thing called light. I'm not going to get into it. They're telling you that you can't hold that much light. And I'm here to tell you, I call bullshit. Give me as much light as I can handle and let me go and disseminate it. Their term is pearls before swine. And so before I get into that, I'm going to shut it down. Don't explain things away. Keep questioning the answer. Keep questioning things. Keep the skeptical but open mind. This is M's in the Grid, y'all. Thanks for joining me. I know this was a little bit longer. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about what happens when we die and that cycle, and how there's a mechanism there that makes this place a hell realm. This is M's in the Grid. Peace. Hope you guys are doing well. Later.